It's the Disneyland with Kids podcast, bringing you travel tips, park tidbits, and the best Southern California travel deals.
Becca, is it ever worth the money to stay at a Disneyland-owned hotel? I mean, what are the benefits? What are the perks? Well, we're going to talk about those things and more because there's been several heated discussions in the DWK SoCal Theme Parks group. I'm Jessica from the Happiest Blog on Earth.
And I'm Becca from this crazy adventure called life.
Oh man, the ever persistent question, are the hotels worth it? And I'm going to add, are they worth the money? I would say probably never. Never worth the money. Oh, but there's so many other things that make it worth it to me, so I don't mind parting from that money. What's your off the top of your head response to is it worth the money?
It's usually most likely not. I can never just say yes or no. I have to say, if you'll use the perks and you are going to spend time at your hotel, then yes, it's worth it to do at least once, But there are hotels that are much closer. There are hotels that are nicer as far as for families and like the amenities on at the hotel than some of the on-site ones and are way less expensive.
So, having said what we just said, I typically stay at a Disney-owned property at least once a year, but usually more than once a year that I pay for. And this year it will have been 3 times, I believe, maybe
Look
4.
at you.
Yeah, look at me spending all my money. So I want people to know that my opinions are coming from that place as well because if you've never stayed there, can you really say if it's worth it? And if you only stay there, can you say if it's worth it? So where are you at in this equation?
So I've stayed at all 3 properties. I have stayed on my own dime several times at every property, and I have been hosted a couple of times at the Grand Californian. Let me tell you, the Grand Californian is way more worth it when it's free.
Right?
So
And that's why we are required to say that we have been hosted there, and I've been hosted there as well once or twice, I can't remember, but, I've also paid for it myself, so I feel like I can say pretty clearly on what I think about that property, but there are
definitely.
3 of them. We
Mhm.
have the Grand Californian, that is the top tier, then we have Disneyland Hotel, which is very close, and they also have the villas at Disneyland Hotel now, which we'll be talking about soon in the group and hopefully here on the Disneyland with Kids podcast as well. Then we have Pixar Place Hotel, which I am calling it that. It's not completely transformed into that, but that's what we're working on. And I have a stay booked there, and I'm hoping that it will be done by then, but it's been crickets lately, so we'll see. But maybe since we're recording this, maybe by the time this actually goes live, we'll have news on the Pixar Place Hotel, which is traditionally the lowest tier in our 3 Disney-owned properties.
We can't move on without saying, while it's the lowest
Oh,
tier, it
yeah.
could still be considered, at the price rate of a deluxe hotel in Walt Disney World. So if you are a Walt Disney World regular, where it's almost everyone stays on site, it feels like. Of my 3 trips, twice I've stayed on site, once I've stayed off. I'm an on-site gal over there for
Okay.
now because of that. But it compares more to the moderate resorts I feel over at Walt Disney World, but it is priced at the deluxe
Yeah.
price, like the lower end of the deluxe, but still deluxe. So,
Mhm.
just be aware of that they don't have moderate or value hotels at Disneyland that are owned by Disney.
Yeah, and even if you're staying at Pixar Place and you're getting the lowest price out of all the 3, it's still likely going to be higher than most of your good neighbor properties. So take that into consideration. And let me hop over to the DWK SoCal Theme Parks group on Facebook. So this topic of discussion was prompted by two recent posts in the group. So one is from Kendra, and she said, "What is the benefit to staying at a Disney hotel when going to Disneyland?" And I love this question. We got into that a little bit with our intros, but I want to tell you what some people in our group have answered. Lisa, for example, says, "Honestly, not a lot. It's obviously fun to be in the bubble, but there are so many great good neighbor hotels for way less money." Becca, what's your response to that?
It's true, but also the level of some of those hotels is not nearly the same too. So you have
Mhm.
to look at that. There are a couple of 4 diamond, AAA rated 4 diamond hotels off-site, but they are farther away. None of them are as close as the Disneyland Hotel and the Grand Californian are both considered 4 diamond. But at the same time, yeah, the price is different, but there are perks. She didn't mention them, but she said not much. But there's more than being in the bubble because guests that are staying at one of the 3 Disney-owned properties also get early entry, and that is half an hour early before the park opens. You can enter the parks every single day of your stay that you have a ticket and a park reservation. This right now in 2023 is every day both parks are open half hour before that. Starting in 2024, that will change to it will rotate like it did pre-pandemic, where one park has it and the other park doesn't. This makes it a little less of a benefit, I feel, for on-site guests because you're gonna have more people at each one. Plus, it's gonna dictate your schedule a lot more. Whereas you could choose either park every day. This one, you wanna make sure you're choosing the park you wanna have that early entry at. And unlike Walt Disney World, they're not getting rid of that we know of yet as of this recording, our park hopper restrictions. So we still have to wait till
Mhm.
11 to park hop, and we still have to have reservations. Those things both going away for most people at Walt Disney World. So it definitely is less of a benefit starting in 2024, but it still is a benefit. And you and I did early entry when it first started. We got a lot done. You've done it since. And I think it's still a good benefit, at least on the Disneyland side.
Exactly. It does. This change is going to take away some of that, and I'm sure that we will dive into that in a future episode once those changes take place. Heather did mention that the Grand Californian has a private entrance into
Yeah.
California Adventure, as does the Pixar Place Hotel. So the
Yeah.
Grand Californian, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just wanna say the Pixar Place Hotels private entrance, I have thoughts on that. We'll get to it in a minute. You go on.
Oh, no, 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 don't tease me like that.
Okay.
Tell me,
Alright.
what are your thoughts on
So
that? I love it.
it's a long path that goes alongside the Grand Californian. So technically, someone from the Grand Californian could easily access this path as well. Really, they let anyone at any of the 3 properties through it usually. There might be some restrictions, like, in the morning or something.
Mhm.
However, like, my thing with it is it's a long walk. Don't let it fool you. Like,
Okay.
it's not I mean, it's not as far as if you went through downtown Disney, so that is nice, but it's still a quite a walk, and it spits you out at it's Paradise Garden Park now,
Yeah.
by the Corn Dog Castle and Goofy's Sky School, and so it's not very useful, in my opinion, for early entry because
Yep.
most of that stuff isn't open during early entry. And so you'd still have to go to the
Continue
main
walking.
entrance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I have to say I love it for an exit, but we'll try to
yes.
keep on topic of, like, what why would you even consider staying at, a Disney hotel? So I want to point out that Annie said, for whatever reason, this group, and that's the DWK SoCal, seems to be a little anti on property. And she says, personally, I like staying at the Disneyland Hotel. It's close and convenient. You can take the monorail into Tomorrowland if you don't want to walk through downtown Disney. And the swimming pool is awesome. Goofy's kitchen is right there, and the staff is friendly and helpful. It keeps the magic going for the whole trip. I have to say, I think she hit on so many important things. Let me tell you why I stay at Disney hotels. One is to have the continuity of that Disney experience, and that's what a lot of people talk about when they say in the bubble. We do stay there once a year as a family because, one, my husband prefers it, and that's usually when he comes with us. He likes the exclusivity. He likes feeling very close and convenient, even though some of the hotels aren't as close. We love the pools. We make time to stay at the pools. We've often rented cabanas at the pools. And I think one of the main things about staying at those hotels is, like you mentioned, enjoying the property. We always make sure we have our arrival day and our departure day, non-park days, so we can enjoy the property.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely love, so touching on some of the amenities. If you're looking for park amenities, one more park amenity is package delivery. They will deliver your packages that you purchase in Disneyland Park and California Adventure and Downtown Disney to your hotel by 7 a.m. the next morning. So you don't have to carry your packages around. So that's kind of nice. But as far as the on-site, I definitely feel those perks that you talked about are much better at the Disneyland Hotel and the Grand Californian.
Yes.
The Pixar Place Hotel. Pixar Place Hotel, right? That's the new name, which
Yeah.
was Paradise Pier Hotel. It doesn't really, because of the distance, it's not as nice. I'm hoping with the renovations that might change, but I don't feel that I would want to spend a lot of time at that hotel. And that pool area isn't as
Yes.
luxurious. There's no cabanas at that one unless they've added them, but I don't think they have. And it's a much smaller pool area, whereas the Disneyland Hotel, you have a huge pool. You have that iconic monorail slides. You know, that's the best pool area, I think, for families. And then the Grand Californian, I think that's the one, like, if you want table service from the, you don't have to have a cabana to get food delivered right to you poolside and all of that. It's got the Craftsman Grill right there. That's more of like the luxury feel. So definitely these are hotels that you're going to want to enjoy the resort. And both the Disneyland Hotel and Grand Californian, their lobbies are amazing. Disneyland's, their lobbies are filled with history, Disneyland history, whereas the Grand is just luxurious and you feel like you're at some upscale ski lodge.
We don't have enough time to go into everything, but we do want to spark some more conversation. So if you have questions, you can go into the DWK SoCal group. But here's another comment in the group that I wanted to share. And this is from Patrice. And she said, we're staying at the Disneyland Hotel. So they've already booked it. And she wants to know what perks she should be aware of. So we talked about like the obvious one, the early entry. But I love these little things that people mentioned. And again, it's if you have the time. And I really think if you're staying on site, you should make the time for these. So when you check in, one thing they'll do is give you a schedule, a paper schedule of some little activities and fun things to enhance your stay. A lot of times I don't look at those, but as I mentioned, my husband loves staying on site and he's super into those. I had a work trip where I was doing some on-site things and he was going to be working remotely. So he needed something to do during his lunch break. And that pointed to the schedule. We were able to do cell paintings and you sign up for those things. They're free. Some might be extra cost, but we painted Mickey Mouse and was able to take that home as a souvenir and just kind of see like what Disney animators did or do. It was a lot of fun. And they have different things like pool party, games, dance parties. I know Becca and I, we've both seen one of those at the Grand. Yes, it was at the Grand. And they do those during the summer with characters. What are some other little things you might want to mention to our listeners?
The fact that there is shopping at the hotel as well. The gift shops, the Grand and the Disneyland Hotel have bigger ones. Also, Disney Resort Hotel guests are the ones that can do, we talked about this on a previous episode about Hidden Mickeys. They can sign up for those early morning fitness classes. There's like a pool yoga one that looks interesting. And like we did the one where you go through the parks in California Adventure. So that's for on-site guests. And then they also, this is a big one with us still having reservations next year. Disneyland Resort Hotel guests at the 3 hotels have their own reservation calendar. So when you link your resort reservation, you may have availability that is not available to offsite guests. Not always guaranteed. You and I both seen before where it fills up, especially like Oogie Boogie Bash or the kickoff weekend of the holidays. So don't wait until the last minute and expect it, but you might find that you can get reservations at a different park that you couldn't if you were staying offsite.
Yeah, like for example, I had an on-property reservation, and the day I was flying out at like noon. And so I didn't make a theme park reservation. And then that morning I was like, you know what, I actually do want to go in. And I was able to get one through that pool of reservations. And that was really, really cool. A little perk that's happened to us a few times because we stay during the 4th of July, but during certain holidays, and I know from experience on the 4th of July, they will pass out freebies at the pool. So they often have chocolate bars with like Pop Rocks in it. So it's like fireworks. They'll pass out ice cream bars or popsicles and things like that for free on certain special days. So definitely, I think the schedule is your main thing. You can also get wake-up calls to your room. Yeah. Lots of fun things just to extend the magic. So let us know, what do you think? Is a Disney property hotel worth it for you? Do the perks outweigh the pinch in your wallet? Again, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and thanks for being members of the Disneyland with Kids community. We'll see you real soon at Disneyland.